you just copy and paste our comment section. I'll join.
Okay.
But the problem is for that comment.
Okay. Layout. I think this layout is good. So, woman of God, I've sent you that link. I don't know if you can see it on YouTube now. I've sent it as a comment in YouTube as well.
Okay. I'll be with you.
Perfect. So I'll stop here so I can share the link. Okay, thank you for joining. Just kindly share the link and then we will be the audience and we'll start.
Okay.
Okay, let's see. Let's take that to Facebook.
Are you sharing already?
Yes, I am.
Okay. We'll end up sharing in the same places. In the arms of His love, I find rest. In the arms of His love, there's sweet quietness. Nothing can harm me, no reason to fear. I'm safe in the arms of His love. And softly He speaks to my spirit, drawing me to His grace. Laid aside all my worries and pride to enter His gentle embrace. In the arms of His love, I find rest. In the arms of His love, there's sweet quietness. Nothing can harm me, no reason to fear. I'm safe in the arms of His love.
Okay. Thank you very much, Comrade Samba. Welcome on board. Kindly share in different WhatsApp groups and let us have people, and we'll be starting very soon. Okay, I'll play some music and I have no right to this music at all, so it's just for playing sake.
It's better. I've been away for too long. I don't go places way far from house. Tell me song I never sing, but I feel alone. I guess I'm alone. I don't meet people from everywhere. Them know them even greet
Just
me
also share on Facebook.
at house. When I
Sorry?
speak my language, them
Share on
know them.
Facebook.
Yeah, that I've
So
done.
I feel alone. I still feel alone. So I have to go back home someday. And no matter where I did before, them say you no go fit be king for another man land. So my heart can tell me there's no place like home. Oh my home, oh my home, oh my home. When shall I see my home? Oh my home, oh my home. When shall I come back? I don't wear their clothes. I don't try their way. I don't even take them when don't be my own. I had to run my name, but I'm not fit to call down. So I changed my name to help me feel more. I don't miss the food where we did cook, the food where we did chop, and my mama laugh. I don't miss the tango, I don't miss Kuvera,
Okay, guys,
I
thank you for
don't miss my
joining. Kindly
feelings.
just
So
share
I'm
and
coming
invite your
home.
friends to join us. And as you're
So I
sharing,
have to
also
go
kindly
back home
subscribe to the
someday.
channel and hit on your
No
notification
matter where
button so
I
that each time we are live,
live
you'll
before,
know that we are here.
I
And
know
if we
fit
upload
speaking
anything,
for
you'll be
another
aware of it. So
man.
please subscribe,
My
share,
heart
and
can
like
tell
as
me
we are in the
there's no
studio. And we'll
place
be
like
starting just
home.
immediately after this song. Oh, oh, my,
My home,
where shall I see my
when shall I
home?
come?
Oh, my home,
My home,
oh, my home, where shall I see
oh my home, oh my home. Do
my
you
home?
understand tonight? I need my home. Shall I see my home?
Admin sec your place day.
Shall I come?
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much, everyone. Those of you who are here already, we are delighted to have you here with us. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for this. Thank you for taking out time from your busy schedules to be here with us this afternoon, this evening. So today we are embarking on a journey into the very heart of compassion amidst conflict. So exploring the profound intersection of empathy and liberation within the Ambazonian struggle. So in the midst of the turmoil and unrest, the plight of the victim often stands out as a testament to human cause of conflict. So, and within the Ambazonian liberation movement, a beacon of hope emerged, a commitment to extend compassion to those affected by the conflict. And today we are having an astonishing lady in the studio who will be talking more on this. But as we delve into the deeps of this topic, we are confronted with the stark reality faced by our civilians, our refugees, our internally displaced persons amidst the conflict, amidst this war that has plagued us in the last 8 years, 7 years. So their stories resonate with the loss, resilience, and enduring quest for justice. This is what our people are looking for. But amidst the chaos, there lies a fundamental truth, the truth that speaks to the transformative power of compassion in times of crisis and in times of war. So today we are exploring the myths, the ways in which victims' compassion woven into the fabrics of Ambazonian liberation movement. So from a humanitarian aid a perspective of or psychological support, from medical care, advocacy for justice, the fight for the liberation of Ambazonia, total freedom of Ambazonia. Will be talking on all of this. So today, join me with the delectable, awesome, powerful, firebrand woman of God, Immaculate Kome. We all know who she is. And it's nobody, we don't really need to introduce her, because if you've been in this revolution in the last 7 years, you would have seen what she has done as a woman of God, as a daughter of Ambazonia, as a mother, as a female leader within the Ambazonian liberation, her role as a woman within the Ambazonian War of Liberation. And before I bring her on board, fellow Ambalanders, I just want us to take a reflection on what we have been through over the last 7 years. And it has become, it's becoming normalized or amongst our people that we suddenly forget who we are or the things that we've gone through as a people. But this evening, I would like us to go back into history and ask ourselves questions, not the history of our entire nation, but just in the last 7 years, what has happened to us and where are we today? What has suddenly changed? We all were witnesses of what happened to Sam Sawyer. Sam Sawyer was decapitated in our very presence, his body showcased and make a public spectacle by Cameroon military on the social media. The world saw it, they said nothing. Ambazonians, we were enraged. We decided to fight and defend the family of Sam Sawyer, and not just the family of Sam Sawyer, but also give Sam Sawyer dignity. And also our people, why we are not supposed to be treated that way. It didn't end at the level of Sam Sawyer, because they felt like when they did what they did to Sam Sawyer was not enough. They went further and started raising down communities. We saw what happened in Kwakwa, how our communities were raised down to ashes by the same military that supposedly are to protect the people. We saw Mami Api. Mami Api was an old woman, a mother who was just in her home resting, trying to enjoy the long life that God has given her, to enjoy her old age. But ladies and gentlemen, we saw the unfortunate end of Mami Api in the most gruesome and cruel way by Cameroon military, because she was burned in her own home. Mami Api was not the only one. We saw Mami Florence, we saw other people. And this was not all. They moved into our communities, they gathered our young men, they massacred them in the most gruesome ways, and they set their corpses ablaze. We saw over 45 young, vibrant Ambazonian young men in Bali that were massacred and set ablaze, and then their corpses, the remains of their corpses, were buried in mass graves. We saw young children who have not even had the opportunity to express their feeling about life or to even show love to their parents. They were killed point blank. Baby Martha was an example. We have other people. We saw the Gagbo massacre that massacred more than 14 children and more than 23 others injured. And not just that, a woman, a pregnant woman, killed in cold blood. And not just killed, their corpses, those that were even struggling to run for their lives, they were shot from behind and their corpses pulled back into the buildings and set ablaze. This is what we've been going through. We've seen how our various communities have been destroyed. It has caused our people to migrate from one place to another. We have more than 1.2 million internally displaced persons within Ambazonia. We have refugees scattered all over the world, caused by the conflict in Ambazonia, something we did not ask for. Fellow Ambalanders and people of the world, the last 7 years, we have seen the worst forms of brutality from the military and from Cameroon government, because that is the only language they understand. We've seen different massacres, Munyenge massacres, Kumba massacres. We've seen those in Boya. We've seen those in Tibet. We've seen those in Bali. We've seen those in Bamenda. We've seen our people literally murdered like animals. Even animals have dignity. The gruesome way in which our young men and women have been murdered in the past 7 years, we can never in any way describe it as dignifying, because the level of brutality on us has not been able to resonate with any reasonable Ambazonian. And this is why we are talking about victim compassion today. Every day when you wake up in the morning, your phone is either reflecting on a dead body that is lying on the street, or a young man that has been shot and dumped in the river, or somebody that has been shot and tied on a tree with their hands tied to their back. We see how people, young men, are killed and buried in mass graves. This is what has been happening in the last 7 years in Ambazonia, caused by military, by Cameroon government, and our people have simply a reason to defend themselves. We've seen our mothers dig graves to bury their own children, which in itself is an abomination in our culture. We've seen young girls become widows because their husbands have all been killed, because every male child in Ambazonia is a target. Ladies and gentlemen, today we want to talk about the victims of the Ambazonian Liberation. Who is indeed the victim here? So with me in the studio here is a firebrand. She is feisty when she needs to, a woman of God. She takes no prisoners when it comes to the liberation of Ambazonia, fighting for women and children, fighting to defend our mothers. She takes no prisoners. And I'm so delighted to have her here today, because she has been a very a powerful voice within the Ambazonian liberation struggle in the last 7 years. And woman of God, like I said, I don't really need to introduce you to the people, because they already know who you are. Anybody who has ever heard of the name Deborah Arising knows that you are the champion of that project. And again, thank you very much and welcome to today's edition on the victim compassion within the Ambazonian struggle.
Thank you, PS, for having me. I don't I'm always tearful when I recap the affliction and the torment perpetrated on our people. And the most hurtful part is the manipulation in trying to make us like the ones that caused a war, in trying to act as if you know how when someone perpetrates aggression and brutality and wants their victim to feel guilty for their evil. We find ourselves in that intersection. And the sad part in it is that we have seen all kinds of effects in this war that was brought on us by Cameroon. It's been an ongoing war over decades. We as kids, were traumatized with fathers being picked up, sat on the mud. They called it kale for 1,000 francs and whisked off, and they did everything to demasculinize our communities so that no one will ever rise to ask them, why are you taunting us like this?
Right. Okay.
They made sure that our heads were bowed down. They made sure that we were stripped of anything like an armor to defend ourselves. And once they were sure that we completely were defenseless, that is the painful part of this war. And that is the painful part of the war, is the war looked away. When I have this reflection, of young men and women with survival instinct trying to use a rubber gun to shoot at someone with heavy war armories. It brought to me so much burden in my spirit. And when we thought it was just like a way of pouncing us down to stop, they escalated it. I remember at the beginning of this war when it was just the lawyers and the teachers, and then it went to September 22nd of 2017. I remember when the aggression persisted. I remember calling the Cameroon presidency. I remember calling the Prime Minister's office on a private number that was given me. And hell, they wouldn't respond. And I'm asking myself, and these intellectuals, haven't they seen the consequences of war? Haven't they felt the pain of the people? Didn't they see Mommy happy? Didn't they see the woman with the toddler on her nipple and with a baby on her nipple and the toddler on her back burnt in their sleep? Where is their conflict resolution abilities? And when it dawned on me that they had no willingness to resolve the conflict and it was intentional and meant to be aggravated, then I knew that we as Ambazonians, we needed to do something. And as God will have it, young men and women, old and young, they rose up to the task. That is the biggest blessing Ambazonia has ever had, that for the first time, God gave them that anointing and that power to stand up to the bully and said, enough is enough.
That's right.
Dying or living, we will restore dignity to our land. But the sad part is how these people continue, how they continue to perpetrate these acts of evil on our people.
Right.
Sometimes people number one or two people and all the like. The image of the truck, this big truck, they
Right.
call it tipper,
Yeah.
that was
That-
releasing dead bodies like fish that they were putting in a congeal camp in a mass grave, have never left my mind.
Exactly. That was the Pinyin massacre. The
No, this one is not the Pinning massacre. There were dead bodies being discarded in Yaoundé, dead bodies of
right.
our people in
Right.
a tipper, very big tipper, and people were yelling. The Pinning massacre, you can count in tens, but that was like the reason. I don't even know why people want to think or calculate whether it's a genocide or not a genocide. It is. Because we suffered existential threat. We have unmarked graves. And when I look at all of this, I'm asking myself, do we really need to preach to any Ambazonian? And for those who stand and say that will nothing, do you really, really have a living soul? Now
Right.
there is, when I ask this question, sometimes I don't bother so much because I know that our people have been cloned over the years. We were given an education system and an economic system and a civil functioning system that made us be on the path where you have to please the trajectory of our colonizers to fit in. And so our people were brought up with this set of inferiority complex where they are not bold to stand. Like in America, no one will take that shit. You can't just come to my neighborhood and burn down my neighbor's house. The whole city will be out for you.
Exactly.
If we hear one alert, whether it's false or true, that there was an unknown gunman in a school, our kids are staying home. But I sat in dismay and saw people who live here who kept their children home for 2 years because of COVID, chanting, go back to school, just because they have gone and taken advantage of the war and created small schools that they are looking at their self-interest of how that academic year should not be missed so that they can make money from their school. This is one of the things that were motivating those who said, go to school under gun cannons. Until when we were sure that we had areas that were secure, we could not, out of a dead conscience, be telling children go to school. You have to be able to study the climate as a parent, because life has no duplicate.
Exactly.
And that is one of the reasons I have very strong admiration for AGOC. That's one of the reasons where I'm like, this is a gift from God at this time, because the security of our people takes primacy. The interests of our people take primacy. In every situation where you meet people who are conscious of humanity, who act with conscience, craft policies with conscience, there is hope that humanity will be dignified, because we were dehumanized. We were treated like, it's like they came for a hunt. And then you come, you see these people, they burn down houses. They'll take somebody's livelihood, they burn down your barn.
Right?
And then, as if it's not enough, folks, they went ahead and started cutting crops in the farm.
Exactly.
Now, they did not only try to kill us with their rifles, they tried to kill us by food deprivation. And so most of us rose to the task. And I will always forever be grateful to the Aya Foundation, because they went to uncharted territories. They plowed grounds and took food to people. They crossed through seas. And then you have their elected or paid agents who will go to attack these people who do anything good for our people. Now,
and I'm talking,
where is the compassion?
exactly.
Even if you love money so much, and you live in a glass house, won't you show compassion on that woman whose house has been burnt, on that pregnant woman who is giving birth in the rain, and the only comforter or the only warmer that she has for her baby is the leaf of a plantain? No Ambazonian, or no, even if you're not an Ambazonian, I know the war on us in its magnitude has not been on media streams. But at least
before we get to that part, woman of God, I want us to talk more on a little about what you just mentioned there on food deprivation. I remember that La Republique military, they didn't just come into our community and cut down our crops. We saw them on camera stealing from our community food reserves. So they literally went in and bought out everything that our people had, sell for the times of need, for days of hunger. And then we saw them also stealing our livestock. We saw these people stealing our livestock within the community. And this went further to aggravate the food insecurity or the food shortages that we had within our community. I want you to speak to Ambazonians who are still very much interested in aligning themselves with La Republique, especially on this issue of La Republique military entering our communities, raising down our communities, cutting down our crops, stealing the reserve that we had, stealing our livestock, killing our women, raping our girls, and causing untold suffering to our people. And yet our own people still think that they are a friend of Ambazonia.
I want to correct that statement, Spokes. Our people don't think that way. We have few weaver birds.
Those weaver birds address those.
Few bigots,
right,
who have lash mouths on media, giving a false impression. Our people do not think that way. Our people don't feel like Cameroon. For the large of it, we have all seen. I hate playing into the manipulative cleverness of fools, because our people are not. If, let me say, one person decides to come out with because of their personal interest and and they go to one African media and sit there in a round table. They don't represent us. And I don't call them Ambazonians, and I don't say some Ambazonians, because they actually don't even make up to 100 of the 8 million and more. So what I want to say here is, for those who are compassionate, those are the people I'm interested in encouraging that we keep doing what we are doing, because we have been doing it. We are here on the 7th year. Cameroon has not won a victory crown. They have won a loser crown.
Right.
Because God is with us. This fight is not just, it is not a joke. So when we have some few people who go out there and try to, market falsehood, we first of all came into this mess through falsehood.
Right.
But we are that generation that is reason to say never again, because we are coming from a place of evidence base. You cannot see, you cannot tell me 1 + 1 is 3. I will never take that. But this is the situation for the food deprivation that they have caused our people. I would like for you to know that our people who are displaced, who are refugees in Cameroon, they do not have like farms like others will have. I'll take a simple example. Let's take like the Bamilekes who took refuge in our territory when they were at war. And we even have our war veterans who helped them in assisting them to make sure they were safe. They came to our land and they had farmlands for free. They went to our schools on scholarship, 750 francs for primary school and 2,500 for secondary school. Good. But when you talk of victim compassion, they don't have it.
Okay.
They don't have it. And the reason they don't have it is because of the way they are cultured to be self-centered, to know that we are second-class citizens. Because when you go to places like, you go to Cameroon, you will see our people there as born. Born is a house slave. You will never see a French child as a born, but you will always see English children. Those ones are very, very loyal. These ones, they have servitude.
Okay.
That's how they look at us. And so I'm coming to that food scarcity, because that's something I've been addressing over time. They don't give them even a piece of land to cultivate, or if they give them a piece of land to cultivate this year, once it is ready, they'll take it from you. And so what is happening is that our people through the years have developed resilience, where you find young girls in Bamenda who are millionaires, not because Cameroon government provided them something, but because they already know how to go to that farm, look for arrow, cross over a cock and sell it. But with all of that that's going on, and we say, okay, you have taken our oil wells, you have taken over our industries, you've taken over our factories, you've destroyed everything, we will still survive. So we have that survivor instinct, and we were still flourishing, rich. Myself, for example, at the age of 26, I was already a millionaire. They come again and make sure that they destroy these things. Now, who on earth will sit and watch you keep doing that?
Right.
And so for any idiot who thinks that fighting for Ambazonia is that nothing, you need to think again, because you have to look at the people that are involved. They are uncommon. This is a fight against existential threat. This is a fight against human dignity. How do you talk about it that my girl children will grow and see girls who were robbed in the mud and they're robbing them? And
exactly,
every time that comes to my mind, it
you can phantom it as a mother and as a woman.
You do that to an American child anywhere in the world, there will be no excuse for you. You can't. Okay. And so why do people think that you can do that to Ambazonian children, and then we are just comfortable and let it become sweet by and by, back to normalcy?
And you give everybody a pat in the back and we go. And before we go detail into what especially on the Bamileke issue, woman of God. I want to bring this up so that we can have some level of coordination on that part. During the last Global Egg of Sea meeting, we had one of our monthly meetings where we sit and re-strategize on what to do, where we are, and all of that. You spoke in a most passionate way that it resonated with not just the women in the meeting, but also all the men within the organization. You talked about Ambazonians crying more than the bereaved, and also showing so much mercy more than they should against their enemies. Can you, in your own words, again, elaborate more on that? Because you brought in examples during that meeting. I would like you, in that same passion and in those facts that you brought up, speak to Ambazonians, because this is where our team actually came from, victim compassion.
Okay,
what did you mean?
So you see, our society was stratified for a reason. You had
Right.
the elite, you had the middle class who were the civil servants, and then you had the low class who could lose their property at any time to anyone that was in CPTM. And it just needed a call to gendarmerie company or wherever, and then you are locked up for no crime. Or they just come and then it's rainy season and they are taking back goats in and they catch your goat, and since you are not in that class, you can't even go an inch further. And then with that stratification, what did they do? They bred in our people the fact that if you go out there and an elite was at fault, you have to defend the elite. Because if you don't defend the elite, you don't have voice. If you went out when let me say a Dio splash mud on a woman, that woman should just cuddle away. No one should dare raise the voice at the Dio, because you can get in trouble.
Exactly.
That is the same effect playing with Ambazonians, where they are very sympathetic with Yaoundé, than they are sympathetic with the women burnt in their houses in their sleep. Than they are sympathetic with the hospital burnt. Than they are sympathetic with patients burnt. It's because it was programmed. But I am not moved by that.
Right.
Because they have made a generation that cannot be programmed. We are here to say no, and we are doing the reprogramming. As you can see, there are community schools. As you can see, there are apple farms coming up. As you can see, there are a lot of things that we are doing. You know, bit by bit, baby steps, getting into giant steps. And that is how we build. And so when you see all these weaver birds, they do not market our progress. They do not market our wins. They do not market the things that matter to us. Because the thing that with their lash mouth, they can be able to make it look like the extent to which Cameroon has gone, nobody can cover them up. Unfortunately, with all the media handlers they have bought, with all the sabotage they have made, with all the targeted propaganda they have made, and they should make no mistake, anyone that defames my name. I used to say, when a woman is in labor and a rival is around her ears like a mosquito, you don't bother. If you have a midwife that is troublesome and insultive, you don't bother. Wait until they are finished and you have your baby and you know that your bleeding is content. Put your baby in a safe place, hold them, beat them very well. That is a parable.
Okay.
So, in a nutshell, with that victim, with that mentality of being afraid of the superior, there is that inferiority complex that has been bred in the fabric of some of our people. And the anger of the enemy is that inferiority complex has been broken. The anger of the enemy all through these years is that our people have risen and they now see themselves as who they are. And then you still have some people who are still in that chain that we need to take them, help them get out. I want us to exercise compassion on people who come with such ideology, and then compassion mixed with some rubbing off to set them free from that chain, so they can understand that we have been the victim, and you cannot be sympathetic that your slave master is losing because you are becoming free. Because those who think that way are the people who are like, okay, don't you see that if you say that they will pay tax, it is segregation? What kind of segregation? Can I cross the border of Gabon for free?
Never.
Can I go and stay in
Never.
Gabon beyond the days that were given me? I have traveled most African countries. Can I just get up and fly to South Africa? Even to Congo, can I just go without a visa? The visa to go to South Africa is to Congo is one of the most expensive visas. You have to pay a visa to go there. And then now, if you're coming to reside in our territory, shouldn't you have a resident permit? Everybody that come to America, the problem is some people want to leave their own kingdom and go and reign in another person's kingdom. Like you see the artists of Ambazonia. They are like people who abandon their kingdom and they go and they're reigning in another kingdom. And they are surprised why they are not being respected. They are surprised why they are not given, why they are putting all the efforts they are putting and they are not being recognized. You don't belong in that kingdom. So when you leave your kingdom to go and reign in another person's kingdom, that is the effect. You lost compassion on your own people, and you start to show compassion on the bully for receiving a slap for trampling upon the rights of your people.
Do you think by this mentality or this lack of compassion to our own people is as a result of some our own people taking up positions within La Republic government in our territory that has influenced the people around them, or to behave in the way they are behaving? Because we cannot truly, I as a person, I cannot fathom how a military comes into my community, raise down the community, cause our street to flow with blood, cause rape our girls, cause them to crawl in mud. Children who are yet unborn are killed in their mothers' wombs, and then the women killed, and our mothers are killed. Any young man becomes a target, and yet some people still think that, still address it as nothing, like you mentioned earlier. What could, honestly, in a woman of God, how could you even talk to these people, and what could really be the cause of this? I know you've talked about us being brainwashed, the kind of education we received when we're growing, but I also think that you still have more to say on this.
One of the things that I would like you to understand is the principle of the Bathsheba effect.
Right.
Who was Bathsheba? Bathsheba was the wife of a general in the army of David, whom David committed adultery with. And now the only way to cover up that act was to send him in the rank of battle where he did not belong, so he can be healed.
Right.
And most of our people, when you look at before the war, how many of our people were appointed to where? So all those appointments are Bathsheba effect, but the people who are appointed think that is victory. But it's not. They are all endangered species. Counted from Tanganji down to they are all endangered species. They are all endangered. In fact, they are more endangered than a human.
They are just instruments and tools used to manipulate their own people.
Now, let me tell you something. They are not instruments. They are not tools. They are puppets. Because if you put victim compassion in your heart and you have empathy, there are some things you will refuse to accept or embrace. For example, when I grew up, I had a lot of connections with all these rich people and all these ministers of this and that and that. I choose not to do business with any of them, even the ones that were in my business network. I make sure they never saw my face. And even when we went to Hilton Hotel for any event and they come and ask me where I'm lodging, I made sure I went and lodged in the cheapest hotel where nobody will be able to trace me because they were vicious. They don't give anything for free. That's one thing that our people must understand. Because when you go out to trade with ministers of other countries, it is different. It is pure diplomatic relationship. But with these ones, it's like you have to know someone that knows someone who buy your place. So most of these people who had to pay to get into position, who were suddenly just given those places without any payment, they didn't understand that they were like throwing them to the pigs. And then they go behind dark lines and do the same things to our people. But what is happening is when you look at our people in the realm of the spirit and with the trend of events and everything, you would realize that Cameroon has lost control. Even those who are Cameroon's facilitators, because they are engaged, they have lost control. They don't know. You know, what God did to make Ambazonia invincible is that he made us unpredictable.
Exactly.
If you look at how the Ague of Sea have managed all these noisemakers, all these detractors, you will understand that it doesn't just happen. It takes a high level of emotional intelligence to deal with some of these things. And then you just imagine that all of you in the leadership of the organization, you did not take a crash course to get to your position. You just responded to the call out of victim compassion. You just responded to the call out of empathy for your people. You just responded to the call because you can't stand the evil. You just responded to the call because you can't be quiet with the ongoing genocide. You just responded to the call. Nobody comes and wakes you up. Nobody gives you a token. Nobody pays you.
You are volunteer for your
Nobody
country.
gets you don't get a tip.
Not at all.
It is not like someone is coming to motivate you or tell you what to say. Like, you didn't tell me what to say. I didn't tell you what to say. Nobody commissioned us to talk. But because of victim compassion and the hunger for freedom, making sure that this never happens to another generation, we are here. And that is the invincibility of who we are. Because we've been struck, they've done everything. Things that could be done and you will shy away, they do it to us and we are stronger. And so anyone who is still thinking in that prism or that delusion that will ever be part of Cameroon will not happen, because there are people who are reasoned, framed by God, who have said, even if everybody give up and I'm the only one standing, Ambazonia must be free. So at this point, what I just want for Cameroon to understand is there is seed time and harvest time.
Yeah.
You see how they burnt our villages? And they feel like they were so top up there. Nobody has been able to call them to this. Nobody has been able to stop them. You get more pay when you go and kill more. The thing is, they will do the same to themselves soon.
That's right.
Not long from now. They will do the same to themselves. And what will happen is, when an oppressor gets into their own captivity, the sad part is there will be no me to cry for them. Because then it will be stupid for me to be crying their cry. I will not take Tylenol for their headache. Because
okay.
they did not care about they did not care about how much they hurt. But the truth is, in life cycle, it will return. And before they know it, there is a scripture that says, there's a scripture that says, even the legal captives shall be set free, and the prey shall be taken from the hands of the terrible.
That's right.
Okay. But we are an illegal captive in the hands of Cameroon. And the prey, they have fed on our flesh for too long. Okay. But listen, they say, God said, Yes, the legal captive will be set free. How much more of the illegal captive? And I will fight against them that fight you, and cause them that oppress you to feed on their own flesh and drink their own blood as sweet wine.
Right.
And I will save your children. I make this statement always: Ambazonia shall be consoled. The trauma on us is so overbearing. Like Spokesy, hi God.
Yeah, look, I can feel your pain, to be honest with you, woman of God. And Cameroon has been that kind of Cameroon's existence, like the leader of the Ambazonian Liberation will always say, that they know Cameroon because Cameroon understands nothing but brute force. And because we talked about the West and also the Bambili case, I want us to go back to memory line in history, because you had earlier brought that up in terms of during the late 50s, 1950s and early 60s, when during the Makiza period, what our people did to the Bambili case. You mentioned even scholarship. But what is the situation with our refugees that are in Bambileke now? Because we are not calling them IDPs. That is not Ambazonia. They are in another land because they've already crossed borders. What are they doing to our people?
Now, for one,
right.
a school that I paid, because I have assisted with tuition all over, that I paid 36,000 annually, which is a private school. The fees went up to 200,000.
Okay.
And I relate with nuns who take care of our people, our refugees in Yaoundé and their southern parts.
Yeah.
I have helped some people where if you are a teacher teaching them and you come to school and you're clocking in, 5 minutes late, your salary is deducted.
Wow.
And also, I have done feasibility studies on some communities where our refugees in those places are living. And this nun informed me that the way they treat our people is so demeaning that they will even say, we are praying that this war should not end, because if this war ends, our slaves will go back. We don't know how to till the soil. See, ever since you people came, we have food.
Wow. So they literally refer to
So
us.
they don't have that compassion. And I'm asking myself that even if you choose to be a weaver bird for Cameroon, even if you choose to collect their money, won't you be so smart not to serve them to the full years with the wickedness they are doing? And some people think, look at this, they banned bike. We easily forget. Do we remember how much there was unprovoked? There was no situation. There was nothing that should cause any problem. That they gathered all the bikes. It was selected. When you talk about Cameroonians living in Ambazonia will pay resident permit, and some people are like, when it begins, no, it won't be. It won't be, because they collected the bikes of our people. It's selective. Can you tell me how many Bamileke people they killed in that land? No.
Woman of God, you
in
mentioned
Yaoundé, let me finish. In Yaoundé, this happened in the capital, and all the so-called people of Ambazonia who they have given them pseudo positions, they don't see that as a problem. But the livelihood of our people were taken. The burden comes on us. When they call me for hospital bills, in the Ambazonian war, you don't have to be my family member to get help from me. When they call me for hospital bills, when they call me, they can't eat. When they call me that the bikes, they are making America pay for it, because it's American dollars I'm using to subsidize for their recalcitrance, to subsidize for their stupidity. Because a broke country like Cameroon should not prosecute a war for 7 years. At the second year, when they knew they have lost the war, they should have surrendered. But for them to be so stupid to continue prosecuting a war for 7 years, war is too expensive. It costs lives, it costs treasures, it costs everything. You are depriving like 3 generations of treasure. When you go to prosecute a stupid, insensible war run by unfortunately, Cameroon does not have a government. They're an NGO because everybody have their own faction of the war economy they want to hold. That is why they will come to Canada to bring resolutions, agree, and then this person will say, if I give up this my treasure too soon, I'm not, I don't recognize that. That is the way they are tailored. And so they burnt down the motorcycles, the motorbikes of our people. It was selected. I pray that these things don't just fade away from the minds of our people. Exactly. What did our people do when they had to go targetedly collect just their bikes, came to that big place, laid them there, is a bike chip, and burnt them down? And then you find someone who just think that it's a free right to do anything. No. It cannot be righteous to kill an Ambazonian. We have reason to say no. It cannot be righteous to burn down our villages. It cannot be righteous to continually target us. It cannot be righteous to perpetrate genocide on our people. And so it's a zero tolerance policy that Cameroon shouldn't have ever tried. And I think it's beyond pardon that they should even think that there should be some leasehold of alliance between Cameroon and Ambazonia. No, they haven't even come to that place of penitence. It's just like a pastor imposing on someone that you are having this problem because you did not forgive, when the perpetrator of that act has not even said, I am sorry. So we have this pseudo mindset that has been imposed on us, that blessed reality. How will you be talking of forgiveness for someone who is still committing the act? How can you be talking of reconciliation with someone that is still aggressing you? You should be talking of sanctions. You should be talking of boundaries. Don't we say that you put boundaries? So why is it that they think that Ambazonians on the left deserve a right to put a boundary, to say it's enough? We have to create a boundary. If someone has made it a decade of years habit in thinking that you're less of a human, you have to rise and say, no, enough, stay, get away. And that's what we are doing, and we are not reversing that. And there is nothing like, okay, let's try to there's no middle ground for injustice.
There is never.
Because that will mean that we are taunting the victim compassion. We do not care, and we cannot be that generation that does not care. We can't. We deserve to seek absolute justice. All the things that they have done in dark lines, they don't know that we have evidence of the things they have done. Like they'll go and kill here and say, oh, Amber did this, oh, Amber did that. All those things they are doing, they cannot be hidden. From the time that war was launched in our land, it was already on the radar. That is why we see war reports coming out from human rights groups telling us about Cameroon having their militias in our land, and they all go and claim that they are Amber. We know these things, and knowing this, we can't, for one reason, with the victim compassion, let our people face the worst. Because for those who think that they can roll us back to Yaoundé, you're an idiot. You're a big time idiot, and even Satan is scared of you. Because how come you think that before then we did not have a voice, and then you go and surrender after being bastardized, genocide, assault, scorched earth policies? You go back again and give your head to it. Are you stupid? It cannot happen. It means that we don't care. You want to care about your own comfort? None of us will live here forever. None of us will live here forever. But when you are gone, what will be said of you? We are celebrating Juneteenth with Rosa Parks. We are celebrating Martin Luther. We are celebrating everybody that fought,
sacrificed their lives.
I don't want you to celebrate me. I want you to have compassion. Compassion. Just empathy, which is a vital aspect of any livelihood to show that you're a human being. Because if you don't have it, you're a beast in a human body.
Woman of God, I would like us to dwell a little bit more on that issue of Ambazonian refugees in the West and how they're being treated. We already know that Cameroon understand no other language but the language of aggression. So they came on, they also carry out a very extensive, aggressive campaign on the Bamili case during the Makiza period. But what the difference is that when they migrated into our territory, we welcomed them with open hands. They now own lands in our home country, in Ambazonia. They own very extensive lands in Ambazonia. Their children have benefited from the educational system within Ambazonia. They've benefited a lot of, we show them compassion during that time. But what I don't understand now is the same thing that happened to them, even though ours is worse than what happened to them in the 50s. How come the same people that we open our doors to them, we show them compassion during their times of need, today are so silent when it comes to the war that is being that has been melted down on Ambazonia? They are unwilling to join in the fight to pick up arms and defend the territory that they now call home. They are unwilling to even provide humanitarian support to our refugees that are in their own home country, and they are using them as slaves, as their labor tools. They are unwilling to even stand with us to defend the ideology of Ambazonia for the for our self-determination. What is the reason? Could it just be because of the Cameroon's policy of divide and rule that causes people to just be at loggerhead and never have a common ground?
No.
I want you to talk more on this.
It is not like that. It's just simple because they have always been superior to us.
Right.
According to the prism of Cameroon standard. And don't forget that they ran into our territory does not mean that they became us. I used to tell people that just because you meet a cobra on your bed does not make it a domestic animal. Now, the problem is us not wanting to define that line that this is not us and this is us. They will never change to be who they are or see themselves the way they are. Let me ask you a question. P.S. When you grew up all through your life, did you ever go to a long tennis court? Did you ever see any child in Ambazonia neighborhood going for Olympics? But children in Bafoussam had gone for Olympics. They have private coaches. You don't need to come from a rich family and extending to Yaoundé. They had all those things. Because we were not meant to have them. Anyone who does not understand this, if you did not have the information, we have the information to give you for free. So when some of you go out there and make a fool of yourself, trying to solve a linear equation with a quadratic formula on Afrique Media and all these stupid nonsense, nonchalant houses that have too much prejudice with their reporting, you will be able to come back to this and learn from objectivity. We live in a time when objectivity is the evidence. And when you have objective evidence, it cannot be subdued by manipulative cleverness. So these people were raised to know that we are not their class. And even in our land, they had access to loans to have businesses and employed us like slaves. They had the big stores, and then we buy from them and retail. They destroyed our own microeconomy that was boosted from Biafra because we imported from Biafra. They contraband those produces, send their pattern agents to take them out of our stores without compensation and destroyed them. And then all our big provision stores crumbled, and now the Francophones who are in a territory called the Bamilikes, who are Cameroonians, They had access to loans, business loans, and then we became the workers in the termite mine serving the queen.
Can you make me turn?
Yeah, go and ask daddy to make it those.
I said turn.
Okay.
I said turn, Mama.
Go and give this to daddy.
I said turn. I'm telling you, I want you to make
Allow him.
turn.
I will
He's an
make it, baby.
Ambazonian child.
Go and tell Rani to put corn in the microwave for 6 minutes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No,
So-
that's no problem at all. No problem at all. If you want to take care of him, and I'll just bring out some points and then.
No, let me finish. Let me just finish this.
Okay.
Go up, baby. Let me just finish this because I may lost track of it.
Yeah.
So when you went to when you crossed the borders and went to Bafoussam, you will find they had, when they talked of like we had the technical schools, when they talked of their own technical schools, it was advanced. You will have children who go to school and all they learn is sewing, and that sewing is from first principle, where they show them how to design clothes.
Right.
We didn't have those amenities. And then the Agua scholarship that America gave for us when they called us Anglo-Saxon scholarship back in the day,
Yeah.
was weeks to Yaoundé. Here in America, we have more francophones than we had before we came aggressive, did it by ourselves and walked our ways here. We could not come through those means because we were deprived. And thank God for the DV lottery, because we will be lost. So they took that scholarship and only gave it to people who know people in the ranks of the CPDM, but us who were like those, those high graders who could just, like any medical school want to take us if we were here, they won't take us in queues because we did not know who knows who that knows who. And then they took that scholarship away and gave it to them. They enjoyed it. When they wanted simulation teachers, they would take someone that has not even gone to a GTTC or gone to any training school. They just give you a fake certificate and say line door open, and they send them here. And since America is a country where even if you already have a license for something, they always still do continuing education just to be sure, because they believe in quality. They come and they try and manage to fit in. But this is the extent to which these people hate us. This is the extent to which they don't see us like part of them. This is why they thought that assimilating us will just make us lost. And then now the painful part is our people started giving French names to their children and trying to shift away from our traditional names so that they can be able to pass concours. That's how bad it had become. So it was a silence apartheid that went to a Cold War, that went to a genocide that escalated to this magnitude. And
okay, woman of God, I can totally feel you. And there's been this argument amongst the Bamilekes when brutal Ambazonians come up to them and ask them why they've been so adamant and silent on the about the fight for the Ambazonian liberation. And some have the argument that because of their economic dominance, they really do not want to get themselves involved in the fight between Cameroon and Ambazonia because they don't want the businesses to be affected. Others are of the view that for self-preservation or for self-healing, they are still trying to heal from the Makiza massacre, and they will not want a situation where
so
they
we
will.
who were the midwives.
Let me just give you some of the points that the silly points that some of the elite are raising, that they are still self-healing from the Makiza massacre, and they will not want to endanger the population again in a dark age like what they went through in the hands of Ahidjo and his people. And also there are also some arguments that the fear of repercussions from the Yaoundé regime, of course, that they have their people in governments and all of that. So in order to maintain their relationship with La République du Cameroon, they don't want to be part of this fight between, and again, they wanted our cause is completely different from their cause. These are some of the silly
Yeah,
excuses.
the point is, I get all of that. Our cause is different from their cause, yes, and I'm very glad that they did not join us to fight.
Yeah, so but now I want you to speak to the Bamileke people who live in our territory, and based on what you know about their coming into the land and what we did to them as a people.
So Spokes, the thing is this: I would like for you to understand that that is the way they are wired. Two, they what they are saying, that they don't want to be involved for this to happen, and that utterly understood. If they had joined us, there would be no divination. They would have just said, okay, let this thing just cut. Let's just be grass field battle. So it's for a reason why they are not joining us, because they are not us. And two, even if they are not joining us, they should not be cruel to us. They should show victim compassion, meaning that what? We open our doors to them, we gave them farmlands for free, they lived among us without any rankles. They should reciprocate that compassion. That's all that they need. They don't need to join us fight. We don't need them. And they should not betray us. So
Okay.
we don't, they are not our brothers. They don't, we're not, we are not linked to them. There's no umbilical cord linking
Connects
us
us
to
to them.
them.
Right.
They are completely of a different territory, and they were persecuted by their own country. We gave them refuge. They are free to go back to their country. They are free to please their country anyhow that they can, but they cannot forget that we showed them compassion and that they should reciprocate in such a time as this. But from with my investigations
Yeah.
and all that I followed, reports that I get, they are not doing that. You sit in a taxi and they're telling you, a woman will be saying that I cannot rent a house in Ambazonia because they confiscated properties. We never confiscated anybody's property. If there was a war and they were running for their lives, they ran for their lives like our people to run for their lives. So some of them are not informed. Some of them are just wicked. And I would like to remind you that there was a Betty woman who came on Equinox and suggested that they could create a buffer zone, select only CPDM people, put them there, and then the rest of the Ambazonians, they put them, and then just kill, and the war will end. It came from the mouth of a woman. But none of these weaver birds on African media will pick on that and say, hey, what does this woman say? No, they won't. They are waiting for the next one that you say, Ambazonia must be free. And to them, it's a problem. Why are you so angry that we will be free? We will be, and there is nothing that anybody can do about it.
Okay. Woman of God, based on what we just discussed now, I know they are not part of us. They are not our brothers. We are not linked to them in any way, but they live in Ambazonia and they enjoy the whatever that the produce of Ambazonia. They've established themselves in Ambazonia. But I'm a little bit concerned with this. When we are introducing tax, they don't want to pay, because now who are they?
No,
They
the
don't want
thing
to
is,
pay the taxes, and we
they
are.
have to pay.
Would you just just give me a second there, woman of God, and let me just bring out this point, because
Okay.
some of them, they come up with this issue of, and some Ambazonians are of the opinion that they shouldn't tax the Bamlikes who have been established in Ambazonia. They are now like Ambazonians, or they shouldn't ask them for anything. We should just treat them as our own. And yet the same people say they are not part of us, because they are still self-healing, they are preserving their remnants, and they are also trying to, they are afraid of the repercussions. Each time we want to introduce a policy within the country, they are saying, oh, we should exclude these people, we shouldn't cause another war within the territory, added to what we are already facing. What exactly, like, you wanted to come in? Do
What
you
are
have
they afraid of? If they were that strong, would they have run to us and it was our people, mothers who went and fought for them to be free? It wasn't our Ambazonian veterans who went and fought for them to be free. Who are they? That is the point I'm saying, that they created that inferiority complex to put you, to make you to remain in servitude. What do they have? They are human beings like us. And then another thing is, people have not understood the concept of tax, because tax was like penalty from Cameroon, where if you're in the SDF, your business is out taxed until you lose your business. Like when you were not a regime sympathetic like the Nangas, you lost your business, where they use tax like a tool. But tax, that I understand, the concept of tax is for nation building, and every citizen should proudly pay their tax. You wear it. I pay tax here, and I'm so proud I am a taxpayer, and I'm so happy because I see what my taxes do in my community. Roads are good. I go to the hospital and the hospital is clean. I see what my tax dollars are doing for me. I paid sales tax. I go to the store when I buy. If I buy something for $100, there is a sales tax that is attached to it. That tax goes to the state. And so it is their concept of tax, because like when I had my business, I paid 15% of my income. Just this is income, not value added tax on my products, directly to the treasury of Cameroon. But Cameroon is broke and use other means. Why? Because they have tax collectors who go without accountability, tax you as they will according to where you belong. If you're a CPTM, you will not be highly taxed. And then they collect the money and they get their own fair share and give the chicken change back. And so they don't even understand the concept of tax. So they are not even the ones to inform us on how we craft our tax policy, because they don't know, they are illiterate. Tax is for nation building, and every citizen prides in paying their tax. It's not something that you do. You're not doing it out of obligation or as if it was a penalty. You're doing it out of loyalty for your country and the desire to see infrastructure rise in your country. You want to see community schools built. You want to see we being able to incubate our chicks and not import them foreignly. You want to see all those things, not to allow our children to continue to learn about spirogyra that is in no market and draw cockroaches and flies, but you want to see them being able to create fish ponds and all the things, and be able to get subsidies from their own country to do their businesses. Wouldn't it be wonderful when we all do these things and we start subsidizing the market women, and they are growing their businesses and able to trade internationally with Biafra and other African countries? That's the myopic brain that they don't have, and they cannot be like us. We cannot rewire their brains. If they choose to emancipate someday, they will know. But we are like an intelligent people that were subjected to be ruled by fools. So if we keep thinking and having pain and taking Xanax for their anxiety every night and Tylenol for their headache because they are not reasoning like us, we will be hurting ourselves for nothing. We can't expect anything from them. They can't give what they don't have. They are not free themselves. You know, they have a bigger problem to face. But the thing is, when it hits your door, all those precautions you were taking, let me just ask for one reason. All that our fathers did to avoid war, did they avoid it?
Not at all.
All that they did, just palm branches on the street and helicopter gunshots were released. Did it avoid it? So what are they trying to avoid? They should keep avoiding. We will be here. Time, give time some time.
Okay, woman of God, I still want to come back on the issue of some Ambazonians and the rhetoric that is out there and the things that they say about the current situation in Ambazonia. I'm all for the understanding that we show a lot of compassion for strangers than we do for our own selves. Why do I say so? When we have the apartheid in South Africa, from the understanding from my elder brothers and aunties, it was compulsory for everybody to maybe do something, bring it to school that they will sell and get some money to send to support the killings, the people of South Africa. They were willing and they gladly did it. They composed songs. I remember the leader of our War of Liberation, Dr. Ayaba, telling us that they even had to sing songs just to support South Africans against the apartheid. And now we have the Ukrainian war, woman of God. We've seen how so many Ambazonians have shown more sympathy to Ukrainians refugees than they've shown to Ambazonians who are their fellow brothers and sisters. And what do I say? The Ukrainian war, they said Ukrainians are the victims. But we have seen how Ukrainian president and Ukraine is bombing and killing other people in Russia and attacking Russia with all their might, but yet they have been termed the victims because Russia attacked them. And it's the same thing with the Palestinian war. The Israelite now is like the enemy of the whole war. And whatever Hamas did, no, they don't count on it. Palestinians are victims. But when it comes to the Ambazonian context, this is what I'm saying. They don't look at Cameroon as being the oppressor and Ambazonian being the victim. They see Ambazonians as instead the troublemakers. How do we really correlate these things and the mentality of some of our people? How did we get here?
I'm going to correct your sentence again.
Right.
We should avoid saying Ambazonians. Us.
I said some Ambazonians. That's what I said.
Yes, we should even avoid saying some Ambazonians because there is no Ambazonia that will be thinking that way. Anybody thinking that way is a cloned Cameroonian.
Well,
what I mean to say is this, spokes. You can compare it to Ukraine. Ukraine has experienced patriotism. The Ukrainians knew that they were Ukrainians. They might have been colonized, but they have fought for a certain point to be where they are. But you're talking of Ambazonians who were deceived. Listen, when we do all these things, let's trace the root cause. Our curriculum was written from France. You heard the leader of our War of Independence saying that for GCE board, it was bloodshed. Everything was bloodshed. We've come a long way. Let's give ourselves some grace. So when I had said before that we will not do collective judgment. Like they used to say, oh, those Ambazonian leaders. I'm like, no, isolate the one that is doing the wrong thing. And we currently have few weaver birds running campaigns that nobody's even liking their page books. But we are so much consumed by what they say and what they did not say than what we are saying that cannot be erased. So what I am saying here in a nutshell is, it is still the effect of the inferiority complex. That inferiority complex was built over the year. First, you see that in this thing, men are the ones that are easily bought over because they were demasculinized. When they come and take you and put you in a mud, kale, they have a fear and a fright for Cameroon that they think that they have to cough the way Cameroon wants. They have to smile the way Cameroon wants so they can survive. But now, Ambazonians have risen and have disseminated that mystery. That is the anger of Cameroon. They no longer have that grip. When an abuser loses control over the abuse victim, they go wild. They do stupid things. They stupidify themselves like Cameroon has stupidified themselves everywhere. And then even when you look at these people who have been paid to campaign for them, what is really substantial in their campaign? Did it alter the World Bank report? No. Did it alter the Oxford report? No. Did it alter the Canadian impression? No. Did it alter the human rights report? No. So if you look at it, you will see that we are living in a world where evidence-based takes primacy and where you have people who have studied human psychology and they know who is doing. What I'm saying is, I don't get worked up about what fools do.
Yeah, that is you as an individual and somebody who.
Yes, and when I talk, anyone listening to me should pick up the same.
Right.
But we don't have to be, let me say, we don't have to be worked up by what fools do. People who have not even, who are still suffering from crisis of identity. You cannot be superior and you're so worried about someone that is making themselves fools with unsubstantial knowledge. Like I simply said, you find people who come out after Cardinal Tumi had done a referendum, after a referendum happened on the 22nd of October, and we occur again on the 1st of October, and we have had all the natural referendums that you can ever ask. You see them coming back with big grammar. How do you spend your time even reading that long write-up that is full of junk? Have we not been They put too much junk in our head. We have to unjunk it so we don't let people come and add more junk. It's not every nonsense you see written from the first statement and the last paragraph. You should already know that it's junk. Just trash it. So what in effect I am saying is that we have to come out of that circle where we are feeding into the chants of noisemakers. Because it is not how much you repeat a lie that makes the lie truth. It is not how loud you sound that will cover up for your crime. We will still trace your crime. It is not how much you start when they made a campaign. Oh, see, when to sell oil, this, that, Cameroon, and all the like. Where has it ended? If you think that, so what you say to those distractors is look for another thing. That one is not working. Try something else. So I'm not worried about them. What I am concerned is I have an organization and a leadership that is on the steering and are not blinking. That is all that gives me sleep. That gives me hope that our people will be free. And those that are ignorant, we will re-educate them. We will pamper our people. We will get them back. Take out all the life cycle of flies and mosquitoes that they have taught them with no bearing and teach them real things that give them something to do. You know, you can be here. You don't have to announce it. You can open vocational centers in your village. Don't just sit here. I don't bring my mommy. I don't bring my papa. And this is life taste. No, go to that woman who a seamstress there. Say, if I add 3 more machines to you or 10 more and buy materials for you, can you get children in the neighborhood to come after school and learn how to sew? People should start doing that. That's victim compassion. You don't have to announce it on Facebook.
Exactly.
You don't have to tell the whole world. No, you don't. You don't even need pictures. You just need to be sure that it is going on and that they are doing it. Because we are not politicians. We are not campaigning for an election. We own Ambazonia and we will decide in our own terms how our political system will be. It will not be another neocolonialism. We are not apologetic about it. We have not fought this far to come and succumb to losers. We cannot continue to be ruled by fools.
Ambazonians are too smart to be ruled by fools. Okay, just to continue on that line, woman of God, and I don't know, in the last week, if you saw the report, the Norwegian Refugee Council also brought up another report this year to still classify the Ambazonian conflict as the most neglected this year. So I don't know. And that is not the first time. In 2018, it came up as the first most neglected in the whole world. And the funny thing is that all the conflict classified as neglected are mostly in Africa. And there are other parts of the world that are facing this conflict, but they are not neglected. But what is most outstanding is the Ambazonian one, because it came up in 2018, it came up in 2019, it came up in 2020, 2021, 2022, and they brought up the 2023 one, and it has displayed the level of displacement, internally displaced people, refugees, and it's been 7 years, and our conflict is still considered neglected, one of the most neglected in the world. What do you think could be the reason for this? Let's just talk in your own understanding.
So we have the BRICS, we have the European Union, we have the AU. What do you think when they carry Ancient of Days and put in the AU to lead? Who some of them are demented, and their system is being controlled by by China or any other country that has a business interest in keeping them as sheep, so they can be able to trade free course unhindered without anything and have rights over them more than their own citizens. So AU is like it's just like a pseudo organization that does not bat for Africa. So that's why you have the neglected conflict. But the difference is that there is a generation that have risen that is not dependent on those failed systems. And whether they neglect us or they don't neglect us, we have proven to them that we we have risen from ashes.
Right.
We rose from our ashes and from the burning of the flames, and with all the fire in our body, we are refined individuals, and we do not seek the sympathy of the world, because we are not objects of pity, but we also have made the world come to a place of conscience where they can now really see that they are not fair. you know Everyone is awoken. There's been a lot of awakening in Africa ever since the dawn of the Ambazonian War, and somebody was wondering. But I want to let you know that the trickle effect of most of the awakening is Ambazonia, because how come a small people, a people that were considered, were disarmed?
Yes.
When these things rang, who knew about bow and arrow, gun, or whatsoever not? How did rubber guns became AKs, and how did rubber guns
The
became
shoes become this.
RPGs? How did it get there? Survival instinct.
Right.
And so I would like to say that for those who think that they are flourishing, I think Amazonia is going to be a blueprint in
Okay.
Africa for every African country that really wants freedom, because our freedom will be indeed freedom.
Okay.
Because we have prosecuted this evil war from Cameroon from first principle. We were
Okay.
so lucky, blessed, over blessed, that God took a man and formed him very well, schooled him from childhood. His father went and fought for the Europeans to be free.
Orientation.
His father
Yeah.
his father was a veteran, that fought against, how do they call these
The
tyrants?
Germans.
Yes, his father
Alongside the
fought for
Germans.
freedom of. So how do you expect a child growing like that, whose father went and fought and probably died untimely from gunshots and treating wounds that he endured trying to secure the freedom of the West? And then you think that you just turn around and just do anything? That there is an anointing that the father left, and there is an anointing that God put on his head that gives him that wisdom that his peers, people who think that, oh, is it not just like one of us? They have gone out there, formed all kinds of organizations, changed names, cloned from one to the other. It will never match, because there is no counterfeit to an original. And so, one of the things that we should consider is that we are awfully blessed, because when you look at the strata of the leadership of the Age of Sea, it's a leadership model. I have studied leadership models. It is a blend of multiple working leadership models that will come out as its own leadership model that needs a definition, because we will define that leadership and it will be studied in school, because this is the best. And if Africa really wants a leadership curriculum, they should ask the Ambazonia Governing Council. They will have one of the best, because how do you say prosecuting a war without a budget, and yet nobody diverts a cent? How do
Okay.
you say it? Prosecuting a war without a budget and begging every month, and depending on the goodwill of people with victim compassion to join and answer to the Colarian call, and for all these 7 years has done it without a trace of any form of embezzlement. Anyone that thinks you should argue, you can make your smear campaign, but you will not go and change. You will not change the World Bank report. You will not change the Oxford University report. We go from evidence based. We don't go by hearsay. We have found, if Cameroon had made you, you don't hear so one now. Then you lie, say Mary don't move belly, when they be move belly. We don't do that kind of a thing. You have to give us the evidence. We work with
Exactly.
evidence. So
Okay.
we have
Let's
moved
get
from
to,
that.
yeah,
We have moved from that, and we are here. And
perfect.
I'm very happy that they neglected us. Because if they did not, no, let me tell you something, eh? Let me
Yeah.
tell you something. If the
Yes.
name is sell Joseph for Egypt, enough will become prime minister.
That's right.
If they did not neglected us, they would have obstructed us with imperialism.
That's right.
It's
That's very
nothing
true.
happens by chance.
That's a
But
fact.
I am glad that they themselves are seeing that they neglected, and they are coming up to something. But sometimes it is in your solitary moment that you come out with the greatest
Yes,
invention or innovation.
that's
Ask
true.
Einstein when he was dismissed from school. That's why we have this light. That's why things fly in the air. So we, I don't like what I would really recommend is that we should continue to have that feeling of self-sufficiency that is
Okay.
in our vow or confession that we make and fight as if all depended on us. Whoever
Okay.
crafted that was anointed, because that is what it is. So I mean, let them really not care. We care. We have compassion, and we will not let go of our compassion. Our compassion will drive us, and we will remain accountable to our people. We will remain protecting our people and giving them the right to life. We will do everything to defend every child born of the loins of Ambazonia, like we have been doing and will keep doing. And we are very, very, very thankful that God made us this way.
Okay. Woman of God, I would like us to move into one last topic, which is about women and the role of Ambazonian women in this liberation struggle and what has been done and where we are now when it comes to women. And I want to take you as an example because over the years you've fought, you've spoken, you've contributed in nation building and humanitarian services on the ground. You've helped families, you've sponsored teachers, you've sponsored children. And that is your woman, your instinct, not just as a woman, but also as a mother and and as a leader. Over the years, we've seen, I remember working with you on the project Deborah Arising. And through that project, we did a lot for our people. But as time goes by, we've also seen a fallback in the participation of women in the Ambazonian struggle, unlike before, where we have, I don't want to be calling names, but we at least we know that we had people, Catherine the Grace, Jennifer, Momsey, Dr. Liz. I didn't want to call them, but I'm calling them now. And all of yeah, all of and all these women brought in so much energy in the Ambazonian revolution. Mami Jera could sit on live internet and will be hitting, and you ask yourself, what has changed? What is wrong? Is it social media bullying? Is it smear campaigns against them, threat to their families, or the loss of interest? What has changed? And also, on your own part, what has changed with Deborah Arising? It was a platform where we could come together, support our girls, sponsor children in school, provide for those in the bushes, IDPs. But there has been a little bit of layback with the women. I want to know what is happening with Ambazonian women when it comes to this revolution.
So
From
nothing have changed really.
Okay.
In the world where we live and the way God made life, there are times and seasons.
Perfect.
It's not everybody that enlists in the American military that serves for their lifetime. And if anybody served and decides to be a veteran, that's okay. Our leader of War of Independence said it was not going to be a walk in the park. So when there is war, you're in a race, some people weary. Some people just finish their rule and then they are aside. And it's better they are aside than to stay and be confused. So you might think that someone has given up, but they have not. Because all about the war is not about talking on Facebook, shouting and crying. Because when we cried, what changed? The Cameroon stuff? No, you know, wipe their tears, go start fight. So you think when you're fighting, you have time to be talking. I used to say sometimes that fear the silence of a woman than you fear when they talk. When I'm silent, I do worse than I would do when I'm talking. Because talking takes away the anger so quick, and so I may not react the way I would react if I was silent and internalize the anger. So many people were letting out their anger, and one of the things that they decided was a coping mechanism, because there are people who became hypertensive from this. And you go to your doctor's office and they'll say, whatever you're doing, slow down. If not, you get a stroke. And then they slow down and they are doing what they can do without agitating, to show that because that's one of the things that some people think there's a stalemate in the war between this. There's not stalemate. The fact that you have to be multifaceted the way you fight. You have to be sensitive. You have to follow your instinct. You have to follow the times. We did Deborah arising when there were no humanitarian aid. Why should we stay doing humanitarian aid when other areas like community school arose that needed help? So nothing died. Nothing in the Ambazonian revolution has gone down silent. No woman have given up. Nobody has given up. We are all still fighting. But people are fighting in different ways. So that impression,
it's very important for that to go out there, for us, for you to put that out there for a lot of people who have been asking these questions. I deliberately brought this up because I wanted you to tackle it.
Well, the people who are right, the people who are asking those questions is because they don't understand warfare. Warfare is very complex. You have to be unpredictable by your enemy to not be prevented. You have to be able to eliminate unnecessary battlefields and create your own battlefield where you know you will defeat your enemy. You cannot continue to ride on the antics and the triggers of the enemy. Like, for example, each time you see that they have killed somebody, you come and you're so worked up. No, there have to come a time when you sit down and strategize like an eagle and start to take advantage of the storm to fly high. So it's not all about talking and talking. Action is better than talking. If you come to a place where you think that your talking is giving tools to your enemies to use against you, what do? You deprive them of that. Okay. And so there are some, like the people you're listing, I may not speak for them, but I can say that somebody have, Ambazonians have not, they are fighting. Even if they are not on Facebook talking, they are doing something. And the level of humanitarian assistance channels increased. So we could not be diverting resources to that area when there are other areas that need it. There are people who have risen up in the territory. They don't call themselves, they don't act as if they are fighting the war, but they are fighting the war because they are rescuing lives. They go out, they collect money from us abroad, and they go because if they know that you're sending money abroad down, they will try to target you. There are some people who are still free to go down to the territory because they have not come out on Facebook and shouted. Okay. But when they are able to go down, what do? They are able to help our people. So we should be able to factor out those things so that we are very, very subjective, because you have people who have helped small businesses. You know, there was a time that I gave a Colarian call and sent subsidies to people who make shoes, who sew things and all the like. And they assured me that with that subsidy, they were going to train like those who were in Kumba, they will train those who were internally displaced, they did. So we fight in a multifaceted way. So if I come out now and put their pictures and then Cameroon should go find their store.
Okay, woman of God, now because we're going to wrap up this thing at the top of the hour, so I have some direct questions that I'll ask you, and I'll read them out, and you just answer them as fast as you can in just like 1 minute. And because we've already touched on some of them, but you just for you to bring them out. So, woman of God, can you share with us a moment or a story from your experience with victims of the Ambazonian conflict that deeply impacted you emotionally?
The story then too much. Everything about the killing in Ambazonia has impacted me. All. Right. Okay. Everything. Everyone Ambazonians that have been killed, every one of our person that have died because of this war has affected me. And the only way that I counter that effect is when I am doing something to stop Cameroon.
Exactly. That's perfect.
Because the only way that I was able to deliver my baby safely was when I decided to pick up extra shifts to send money to a woman that is not able to have this. That is the way that I cope with the trauma. The trauma is intense. When the war is over, some of us will need therapy. It is intense.
That's
If
true.
I can't cite one because all of them are painful. There is none that is even deserving of for 1 second.
Exactly. You remember there was a time I also contacted you. I was telling you that I can't sleep when I was the head of human rights and humanitarian service in the organization. I was compiling the genocide report for Ambazonia. The blood I see every day, the corpses are gathered every day to prepare this report,
God.
took away sleep from me, and I was literally walking like a living corpse because I could not
Oh
sleep,
God.
I could not do anything. And each time I open at that PowerPoint to add on the victims and the killings, the blood alone destroys me. So like you said, we will all need therapy after this, and there is no particular case that is more than another. Every single life is very important. And like the leader will always say, there is not even a single tree that is lost in Ambazonia or an animal will be paid for by La Republic of Cameroon, because we will not set up all those reconciliation commissions and all of those things. They will pay for everything that they've caused Ambazonians. The blood that has flew on our streets, our homes that have been razed down, our animals that they've killed, our mothers that have been killed, our girls raped and impregnated, for bastard children coming out they will pay for every single act that they've committed against the people of Ambazonia. And just to go forward, I know this is getting emotional, and I will pray that you pull yourself together and let's talk to our people and encourage our people, because when you come out, they look up to you to strengthen them, especially on what they go through on a daily basis on the ground. So I'll kindly plead with you. I know it's a very sensitive and emotional topic, but let just kindly pull yourself together and let's. In your interaction with victims, what emotions do you often encounter, and how do you navigate providing compassion and support in such challenging circumstances to the victims now? To the victims. If you can, fine. If you cannot, then we will wrap it up. Not
We are
to
we are all victims.
right.
And when we sympathize with those that are on the ground, most of them are stronger than we are because they have closures.
Yeah.
But we don't. They have a communal effect where they can be able to strengthen each other. But we are far away from home. When I interact with our people, they pray day and night that we will be free. They like to hear you tell them that they will be free.
And the way will be free.
And the pain is too much.
Okay. That is ladies and gentlemen, I know I've went to that part where you see the woman part coming out and all of that. For our mothers and our fighters on the ground, our girls, we just want you to be encouraged. Our IDPs, our refugees, be encouraged. Know that we will not give up. We will not stop until Ambazonia is liberated. We will make sure you return back home to the place you once called home. You will return back to that place, and you will be proud to say you sacrificed this 5 years, this 10 years, this 7 years, so that you can have a place that is truly free, that you can call home. So just keep hanging in there. We see your pain. Those of you in Nigeria, in the various refugee camps, we see you, we hear your cries. And for all those that are in Ghana, other neighboring countries, we hear your cry, we see your pain. And those in even the heart of La Republic, we see all of that. But one thing we want to assure you as the leader of the Ambazonia Liberation will always say is that there is no freedom without sacrifice. But one thing we know for a fact is that Ambazonia will be liberated. And we will give to you a free homeland that you can be proud to call home. So he already prepared our minds from the beginning. He said, this fight is not going to be a walk in a park. It's not going to be a walk in a park. If you thought in 1 year we are going to get a free Ambazonian, then you didn't get that message clearly. It was never going to be a walk in the park. And I pray that as you have been sacrificing for the last 7 years, continue to sacrifice. Freedom has never been handed down to anybody. You fight for it. And that is what we are doing. Sitting here and speaking on your behalf, we are fighting for the freedom of Ambazonia. Contributing to make sure that children go to school in our community schools is fighting for the freedom of Ambazonia. Supporting our refugees in the respective refugee camps, the IDPs, is fighting for Ambazonia. And our brave fighters who stand to defend your integrity and the dignity of our communities, they are fighting for Ambazonia. And I don't want you to lose track of this. Know that you've been brave enough for 7 years to withstand the oppression of La Republique, to render them bankrupt, to make them become an international ridicule, because they thought that you were a 2 cube of sugar that will be melted in a basin of water. But you've resisted that water with everything in you. And we pray that you will continue to resist. We will not stop from our own end. It doesn't matter. We will not stop. We will not. La Republique has done so many things to fight us who are speaking for you, but we have decided that we will not stop until homeland is free. We will not go back into that slavery. Okay, woman of God.
Yes, PS.
Yes. So, despite the immense suffering they've endured, what stories of resilience and hope have you witnessed among victims of the Ambazonian War of Liberation?
Everybody is bent to be free. Even
Right.
those in jail who don't know what is their next fate, they are bent to be free. We have seen people in the jail, they always celebrate October 1st. And when you look at a teenager in New Bell, that they are Ambazonia prisoner, you're asking yourself, is this child not supposed to be in school? And where are all those people who are chanting, go back to school, back to school? What about that child? What did the child do to be there? Why is a child in the prison? What did they do? But right there, they still raise their flag and sing their anthem. So when anybody looks at that, you think it's rocket science. No, it's not. You think it's one lullaby. No, it's not. It's a mark of determination that cannot be quenched. It is trying to stop. Stop is like using a palm branch to stop a hurricane. It will not happen any day. And so, for the respect of life and compassion, just pull out of our territory. Get out. Go and manage your sick country.
Okay. Now, let's talk about long-term healing. How do you believe compassion and support for victims can contribute to their long-term healing and recovery from trauma in this conflict, gotten from this conflict?
I personally adopted some prisoners who don't know I adopted them, and I have savings for them. When they walk out of there, I will give them without announcement.
Perfect. And what message do you have for other Ambazonians to follow suit in what you're doing, or any word of encouragement for our own people? We know we are all victims, but there's some victims that are more stronger than others. Like you are a victim, but you've decided to be a support to another victim. So what message do you have for women, men, for Ambazonians? What message?
We will ensure that there is good governance so that everyone is able to be taken care of, because we will be in a society where our tax system is accountable enough,
Right.
where there are enough funds to be able to subsidize and help people grow and be strong. We'll build a strong economy in the Gulf of Guinea, and no one will be left out. No child will not be able to go to school. Nobody will be taken advantage of, and we will be there to ensure that that happens. And if anybody puts a doubt in your head, I want you to look at the egg of sea and know that this is the lifeline and the blueprint of what governance should look like in Ambazonia. It's not a political debate. I'm stating a fact, and I'm also affirming a verdict that is divine. As a woman of God, I've said it is irreversible either, because what is good is what our people deserve, and whatever is best is what our people deserve. So if you think you have anything to offer, you have to walk up to the best. And also, I want our people to know that our our children will not be taught junk, because if you see how the education department of the egg of seeds working, what you see out there is the tip of the iceberg, and you will be proud that your child is leaving high school and is already earning income enough to take care of himself, to be
That's right.
independent and take care of you.
That's
And
right.
so at the end of the day, Ambazonians will be consoled in all strata. None will be left behind. We'll go back to the community spirit that we had, where no one was seen as lacking, because everybody was able to have that shared commitment of citizenry towards each other before they came and stratified our community with elites and second class, middle class, civil servants, where you have your neighbor eating oil and spilling food, and then with shoes in the closet, and a neighbor's child is walking barefooted with ragged clothes and no savon to bathe, when you could just simply donate a carton of savon. And we live in a community like America. Nobody here can be without clothes, because you will just walk to the next clothes area where they donated clothes and come with clothes. You go to the next food bank, you get food. Not like they are lazy, but there are times in life when people are afflicted and cannot be able to do anything. And when they need help, that help should come from their community.
That's right.
When a disaster hits here in America, before the federal government and the state government is responding, the community has already responded.
That's
And
right.
that is the kind of community that we will have, where
Yeah.
it is not just my brother, I want to put my brother for the position, I want bribe me, go for ENS, and then you don't care whether who else, as long as you come to the quarter and they worship you and take their last fowl that they kept and gave you, and then you choose 5,000 and put in your hand when you're driving off to Yaoundé. It will not be like that. It's going to be a fair society. It's going to be a pacified society. It's going to be a tolerant society. And it's going to be a society that uplifts you, where you will be proud to say,
You
home
are.
is home.
Thank you very much. Okay. And we have just three more, and I will let you go. What is the biggest challenge? What are the biggest challenges or obstacles you face in providing compassion assistance to victims in the Ambazonian conflict, and how have you overcome them?
What
Have
did
you?
you say?
What are some of the biggest challenges or obstacles you face so far in providing compassion assistance or to victims of the conflict so far, or and how did you overcome some of these challenges?
So, the challenges and obstacles that could be eminent, as I have looked into conflicts, I have lived a life with conflicts, I have gone through obstacles. So I just dictate challenges and then I overcome them.
Right.
One of the ways that those obstacles have been overcome is when I saw how the Aya Foundation was stopped
Mm-hmm.
because of their tremendous contribution in helping our refugees and helping our people survive the brutality and the genocide of Cameroon. Most of us in the egg of sea, we decide to do those things unpublished. So
Okay.
we do not publish them, because our goal is to preserve lives. We do not showcase them, because we saw sometimes you don't have to get into fire for fire to burn you for you to know the intensity of the flame. You can just watch someone burn and you're inspired. And only a fool will want to learn only by their own experience. And so, with all these observations, we found ways of helping our people without trace. And we do that because of the victim compassion nursed in us, and because of the organization we find ourselves in, where nobody is competing for position, like the competitive system that is set up in most African countries that makes team effort so difficult. The fact that you see it's been very difficult to work as a team with some pseudo organizations that were planted by Cameroon, not because the people can do, not because the benefit of team effort is not real, but just because they were not wired to do that. because they were wired in. Man take number one, now who take last for class. They don't do that in the Western world. Nobody sends their children to school for you to go and say, "They take first, you take last." But with that, they use that to create enmity, create strife, animosity, and people are not able to work on a project. But ever since I discovered the egg of C, I found that it's possible to work as a team, and that works. And so our people will gradually walk away from that systemic clone behavior that were borrowed, which were not originally our culture. We will
Exactly.
walk away from it because if something need the work or you need the profit, there is no need to hold to it. And so
Exactly.
we have learned to work as a team. Everything is done as a team, even if it's a policy, they work in a team. And it's been that way. And this is what is going to translate. So far, I have not had any obstacles because I outsmarted all the possible obstacles.
That's right.
Nothing has been able to prevent me from doing
Progress.
what
Yeah.
I'm supposed to do because I outsmarted through the organization, been able to do things. When you find yourself in the right niche, you cannot be hindered.
That's true. Okay, perfect. So I'll be rounding up with that. So for one last thing on the area of international response, I just wanted to ask, how do you perceive international community respond to providing compassion and support to victims of the Ambazonian conflict compared to response to victims of Ukraine and Palestine conflict?
So there was a live show in Capitol Hill, and I went there and commented that why is it that they are just the Ukrainian war just hit 1 month ago, and every there's a Colerian call for everything, and it is so righteous for everyone until the Pope said it was righteous to arm Ukraine, and it's so unrighteous for Ambazonia.
Right.
And one of the handlers came and said it's because the Amazonian war is not a threat to global security. And I just like, oh no, this ignorance run in every blood. Whether you're white or black, Western or African, people have a myopic brain when it comes to being selfish, And I I appreciated his response, but um one of the things that I want to say is if you dignify yourself, you will be treated with dignity. If you don't carry yourself in a dignified position, you will not be treated with dignity.
Right.
What, in effect, am I saying? If you, as an Ambazonia, criminalize your fight for freedom, criminalize your resistance to genocide, how do you expect someone else who is even considering that your own is not a threat to global security to feel? That's not still an excuse to global humanity, but at the same time, um, um, one of the things I used to say is the neglected stone becomes the cornerstone all the time. And I always say that God taught the whole world a lesson with COVID, and then they did not learn the lesson, but some people learned the lesson.
Yeah.
They didn't have the capacity to trace that is because of all the negligence that they give to areas that they should be neglected. Because when our children did not go to school because of the war, they did not pay attention. So God decided that the whole world should sit home. Their business is stopped. Everybody was home for 2 years, and so
Okay.
when whether they care or they don't care, we have decided to be free. So
And that is what matters.
yes,
Ambazonians
and
are.
then one of the things that I can say that we are thankful of is that we have we cannot utterly say that they did not care. Those who are saying that they didn't care are those who want it on main media streams. They care, they should not stream us. The time is coming when they will beg to stream us.
The streamers. That's
So
right.
yeah, so
Okay.
the time is coming when they want to find out which is this that they'll be doing streams of Ambazonia like could this be in Africa? A time is coming, so we are not moved, and we don't feel less of human. We don't. We feel so bold and proud that we have come this far by the grace of God, and we are thankful for the for the countries that have shown interest, and we are thankful for the diplomatic gains that we have had. And I will differ to say that we are neglected. I don't want to put us in the class of neglect, but that is feasibility studies, comparative studies, with other words. But not everybody was born the same.
That's right.
So some came through C-section, some came through natural birth, some were born at the roadside, some were born in big hospitals. But that one that was born at the roadside, if they have to become the king, they will be. If they have to become the president, they will be. So the process, what matters is the end process, and we've delivered to the world the product.
That's right.
We have delivered. We are going to be studied. We are
Okay.
going to
Thank
we are
you
going to
very
be
much,
we are going to
woman
be
of
a reference point for
God,
Africa.
Africa. That's right. Being the newest nation in Africa, indeed, will be the reference point for Africa. And also, ladies and gentlemen, dear viewers, thank you very much for your time. You've spent so much time with us on this very important topic. You've heard the woman of God giving her perspective on victim compassion in the Ambazonian revolution. And we've learned so much from her today. But then, woman of God, if somebody wants to support the Ambazonian revolution, how do you think they can support the Ambazonian revolution
There are
in terms
many
of
there are outlets, and I would like for you to do accountable support.
yeah,
You can go to Atla and you do your. I don't know if anybody has the website. You
yeah,
go to Atla, and you can do your support there. We have missions in most countries. We have the US missions, we have a chairman, if you want to support us, even when you come to our live stream, just you can go inbox and you say this you want to support, or you can ask for an area. We have a lot of things going on that you can be of good help with. We have hospital projects coming up, we have school projects coming up, and anything you put there will deliver for you. And you put in the www.atla.africa will go towards that. We have we have also have projects for community development, like making incubators for our people to be able to hash their own chicks and get other things going in our community. And just like you heard, we also have um, vocational centers where children can come back after school and go and learn after they have taught them about life cycle of a fly. They can go and learn other things that will put money into their account and put money into their hands, not just going around and holding a certificate that they're waiting for you to go and sell your father's land to go and come and buy a concours again and jeopardize the livelihood of the family. No, we don't want that kind of a system. We said no to it, and we're walking away from it. And we are not just saying no, but we are showing you how to walk away from it, where you have the right to go and modify your community hospital without somebody saying, go talk for Dio, get your own, go get your own. No,
yes,
we are moving away from that trash, and we are
that's
coming to
right.
build a society that gives dignity to our people. So um AGOVC has been very accountable, and that is um, um, the leading train of the war. And you have all observed for the past 7 years, no scandal, no diversion of any funds. And so, if you really want to help your people, this is a portal you can use. And if you have any challenges, you can contact any of the officials. You have officials, and they come out more often, and you'll be helped. So
Thank
there are channels to be helped, and back home there are channels where you can reach out to people. And I also encourage you not to neglect your neighborhood. Don't try to help only your family. Don't try to help only your sisters. If
That's
you
right.
see a need anywhere, it's not by chance that God brought you abroad. Please do something. No help is too small. Just do something. Don't wait until you hear that that mommy is dead and you say, well, don't die. Do something. Make sure that mothers in your neighborhood at least have eaten your bag of rice, your oil, your fish, and something. Not don't take care only of your mother. Don't take care only of your family. Take care of the community.
Yeah.
This is time that we should take advantage and return the community spirit. Subsidize that young girl's business. Subsidize that young boy's business. It won't cost you anything. It will just be the same money you spend in grocery or spend in a store buying clothes that you may not even wear. Just
That,
let's go through that route. There's that clothes that you bought that you attended that party for you once. You've never attended anything. You've never worn it. It was $300. You
yeah.
can cut down on those excesses and just do something. Nothing is too small. You're going to transform a lot of lives doing that. And we are here to help you facilitate your assistance and make sure that it's channeled and that you can be able to go back home someday and see that you were you were among those who showed compassion during the
Perfect.
time of war.
So, in 1 minute, give us your closing remark, woman of God. You've been incredible, and you've done everything. You cried. Please, thank you so much for coming. But in 1 minute, please just give us your closing remark.
So thank you for having me, and I really I'm so proud of Ambazonians, um and I really would like for you not to I'll be encouraging everyone not to generalize. When you see one stray sheep, don't make it like all the sheep have gone astray. No, we are the redeemed of Ambazonia. We
Right,
are we are we are marked for redemption. We are
right,
marked for righteousness, and we will stand until freedom comes. And
right.
if you see anyone that has gone and collected something from Yaoundé, it doesn't affect us. It will never change the cause. They just made themselves a stunt and decided to join the house of shame. So I want for all of you to know that our revolution is on course. It is the highest pace. They might say it's the neglected conflict. Neglected because they didn't pay attention to us, but
Yeah,
very strong and running and has achieved so much because there was never again generation that rose and have not blinked. And I want you to know that we have attained strides that other revolutions have not attained. And I want you to every day own the victory, own the outcome. I tell, when I work in the hospital, I tell survivors of suicide attempt that you just conquered death. And what I want for you to do is to wear the victory crown, not the guilt crown,
yeah,
because you were face to face with death where you had to take your own life away and you conquered. And you're here in front of me because you're a victor. I want every Amazonian to wear your victory crown. Forget about those who are still suffering crisis of identity, who put the red pepper, yellow pepper, and green pepper on their timeline and on everything that they say. No, this is the beauty.
that's it.
It
Pure and original.
can't debate it. You
That's it.
understand? There is everything called glory that comes from this. It's
Yeah,
an emblem. It's well crafted that reflects us. So I want you to wear your victory crown because it's not cheap. You don't know how much resource
yeah,
Cameroon got to defeat us and still lost this battle. 7 years is not 7 days.
exactly.
It's not a protest. It's a war. Some of you try to make it look like it's a protest. Oh, it all normal. Let's go back to school. Let's stop goes down. It is war, and it's 7 years. It's not easy.
That's true.
Pain
Yeah.
mixed with blood, mixed with ashes, mixed with fire, mixed
Yes.
with smoke, tears of blood, and everything flowing. And we've come this far. Wear the victory crown.
Wear the victory crown, Ambazonians. You heard it from the delectable woman of God. She said, wear the victory crown because you've been victorious for 7 years and you will continue to be victorious. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here this evening. And thank you very much, woman of God, to all our mothers and our sons and daughters out there. We want you to know that we love you, we care about you. For all our prisoners of war, prisoners of conscience, we think about you, we are with you, and we continue to pray for you. And we know that very soon you will return back home. And from the leadership of the Ambazonian Governing Council, we just want to continue to encourage you never to blink. You have done to Cameroon what Napoleon left undone. So don't blink for any reason. Don't blink. Let's continue fighting. And before you realize it, we will be back home singing Hail, Hail this land of glory at Bongo Square. So, ladies and gentlemen, that will be it for us this evening. Thank you very much, woman of God. And may God continue to strengthen and bless you as you continue to fight for victims of the Ambazonian War of Liberation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, have a good evening.
Same to you.